Cloudcast Media. Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and it is always a good day when we have our longtime friend and colleague in the studio, Neil O'Connell. He's the executive director of the Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial. We're going to talk about their Veterans Day. That is coming up on their big celebration and their unbelievable education programs and everything in between. Neil, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic, Drew. Great time of the year right now, running up through the holidays, the Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas. It's all good.
You got everything going on, beautiful. And the weather is about as good as it gets up at Mount Soledad?
The weather's actually the best ever in San Diego this time of year. I was talking to Brandon about, from August right up and through about the 1st of January or so, we've got absolutely clear skies. You can see the whole entire county, the Pacific, Mexico. We're very, very excited about the visitors we're getting too, with the tour buses and the teams coming in as well.
Yeah, and is there a certain time of year where it's more crowded than others? It would seem summer when people are off, or is that not necessarily so?
It's primarily the summer season.
Yeah.
A lot of families, you'll see many, many, many families coming into
Right.
the San Diego area at that time, peak tourist season. But
Right.
the fall season we do receive a lot of out-of-town visitors, mainly older families, couples, and then around the holidays, families here visiting their loved ones, coming back to San Diego or bringing mom and dad back from the East or the Midwest.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. So let's talk about this big Veterans Day gig you have coming up.
Once again, we're very, very excited to have the public, the whole community join us on the 9th of November, next Saturday morning at 11 a.m. This year, we will be honoring the Korean War veterans, those veterans who served during that period of time from June 1950 to the summer of 53. And we will have a very strong contingent of veterans from our Korean Veteran Association community right here in San Diego. Our keynote speaker will be Major General Mark McCarley, United States Army, a very solid gentleman who's got a great background on international affairs and the current situations. But the special guest will be, for instance, we've got Mr. John Choi. John was 6 years old when his village was attacked by enemy forces, and he was taken as a refugee. And John is an unbelievable man. He's going to tell his story. We've also got the Consulate General from the Republic of Korea, Los Angeles, who also will be joining us to share some of his words and inspirational comments about the hard work that the Americans did to save their country, the South of Korea.
Yeah, and it is so apropos, and we'll talk about education in a few minutes because you guys are all about education, but as we see what's going on in North and South Korea today, that certainly some of the younger folks hopefully are paying attention to, that can tie back to what happened in the Korean War. And it's amazing to me, not with folks like you who are a veteran, and thank you so much for your service.
You're welcome.
But for those who were not in the military, and we had a war in Korea, am I right or wrong on that?
Right, exactly. You think about it, when you come back from World War II, if you're a veteran, and those families at that era, the greatest generation,
Right.
to ticker tape parades, beautiful welcome ceremonies off the rail cars, the ports where all the GIs and the Marines returned to the U.S.
Right.
And then, 4 years later, war breaks out in Korea, and we assemble these forces, Army, Marines, Navy, all the services participated, but it was very quickly put together with, in some cases, undermanned, under-equipped for the original invasions to
Right.
repel the Chinese forces, the communist forces. But yes, it was termed the Forgotten War, and Korean veterans There's many of them that will be present, working with Holly Schaffner and Honor Flight and
Right.
other organizations here, VFWs and American Legions, that'll be bringing their Korean War veterans to the memorial that day.
Right. So it'll be on November 9. I want to mention people, it's not on Veterans Day. It's going to be on November 9. It's going to be on that Saturday, 11 to 12 o'clock. Free, correct?
Absolutely. All these ceremonies that we produce at Mount Soledad are all free, open to the public. We'll have 2 off-site parking locations with shuttles. It's real and easy. It's an easy stroll if you decide to park down the street. There's plenty of parking. And we anticipate 1,000 folks. There's plenty of room
Nice.
at the top of the park.
Sure.
We're really to touch on your point of bring the families up. Let's bring your youngsters, bring the younger folks to just learn and give yourself about 90 minutes of your time to just meet these veterans and listen to what they have to say. It's Veterans Day, the day we want to thank our veterans.
Yeah, and it's so important. Of course, you and I have talked about this quite a bit. San Diego is the largest military port in the country, if not the world, with the Marines and the Navy, some Coast Guard, smattering of Army and Air Force as well on this, not counting the hundreds of thousands of, those are active duty, not counting hundreds of thousands of veterans that are in our community and so forth. So it's a great way to show your support, in that area. And you folks are celebrating your 70th anniversary or not?
I'm glad you brought that up because there's some real significance here as we're tying this into the Veterans Day ceremony. In 1952, the association was formed by veterans and business leaders within the Pacific Beach, La Jolla, Claremont community areas on their return from World War II. American Legion Post 275 in La Jolla put together the structure that we have today as a nonprofit entity. In 1954, the memorial was dedicated as a war memorial in tribute to all veterans, and it was literally 7 months after the ceasefire of hostilities in the Republic of Korea. So if you go back in time and we think about this beautiful mountaintop here right on the coast, those original bricks that you see up there, you've been there many times with me, Drew.
I have.
Those bricks are 70 years old, and that cross was put up in the spring of 1953, and we dedicated it in 1954 as a war memorial.
No, it's an absolutely an amazing place. We're going to talk about that in a few seconds, get into the education programs as well, and really want to put a big emphasis on becoming a member as well, as we're chatting with Neil O'Connell. Neil is the executive director at Soledad National Veterans Memorial. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to their edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast. We're now in our 18th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades. Been doing great things in San Diego County. And listen, Neil, I cannot say this enough. The fact that this is a unique memorial, because don't have to pass away to be recognized on a memorial. You absolutely shout out those folks that are still alive, correct?
Absolutely. This whole design of 18 walls, circular, and a parabola surrounding the base of the cross and the whole entire top of the hill there has 6,600 plaques on it and counting. We're putting in about 30 plaques a month. We've got about 1,000 spaces left. The whole driving force is for you to be able to honor your loved one, living or deceased, through that photo that we place on that black granite, a short story highlighting his or her career in the service as well as the community. It's not uncommon for you to take a tour there and be given a little bit of education by our docents and see somebody who worked miracles at the VA hospital as a doctor,
right?
Or was a scientist and worked down at at Lindbergh and Northrop Grumman and all those Ryan Aviation way back in the day.
Yeah, and I think it's important, and you talk about it, how many times you go to a memorial or you go to some aspect of it and go, boy, I wish my dad or my mom was here so they could see how we're recognizing her. Well, guess what? You could do it now. You could put that plaque up and take grandma, great-grandma, great-grandfather, whatever, the uncle, whatever the case may be, and if you want to make it a surprise, not even tell him or her, and then go to the memorial and say, oh, boy, I've never been there before. Man, who's on that plaque over there? Are you kidding me? Am I right or wrong?
You're absolutely right. In fact, that we have some requests from that from time to time, and some of the ladies and gentlemen within the San Diego Military Advisory Council, 2 or 3 in particular, have done exactly what you just described.
Right.
And when dad or mom come and visit for a week or so, next thing you know, they're taking a stroll up to Mount Soledad, and exactly what you just described. And it's extremely emotional.
Of course it is.
Very emotional. And what a better way to pay tribute to your loved one.
Well, they're alive.
Exactly.
I think that's fantastic.
Exactly.
Neil, something you and I talk about all the time. My background is in journalism and education. I've been honored to serve on a variety of nonprofits that focus on, education. Work with your bride, who does a great job at Junior Achievement, of course. I've been honored to be on that board for many moons and so forth. But you guys are absolutely laser-beamed on the education programs that you have. Talk about that.
Well, this has been a project in the works for some time. It's part of our ethos. In fact, going back to when we were founded and our charter was created, the memorial is meant to be a place to educate the visitors and the public on the service of our veterans and what good service to your country means. And so we've drilled in a real nice format as another option for educators and youth leaders to come visit the memorial in the same manner that you visit the beautiful museums at Balboa Park, you visit the USS Midway, or down here at the Birch Aquarium.
Right.
And come to the memorial. But what we do offer now with a program manager, a full-time position, we've developed a curriculum that is from K through 12, where we host STEM workshops on site in conjunction with a historical tour. And for the younger children, students, we've got a scavenger hunt, which is really a lot of fun. We've partnered previously.
That could be good for adults like me. Are you kidding me?
It's spectacular. A lot of creativity was put in it, and we're on about our 10th event to date. In fact, this afternoon we'll have 16 Girl Scouts coming up for a workshop from about 2 o'clock to 4. And in the next 2 weeks, right up until Veterans Day, we'll have over 100 students combined making visits to the memorial.
Right. And not only can they make visits to the memorial, you come to them in the classes, correct?
We do. We offer the option for us to provide a presentation, give an educational summary of any demographic, any technical trade, any period of American history we can talk about. We've got the folks that can do that.
Yeah, Neil, you and I were chatting before the interview. You weren't able to make it to our Classroom of the Future Foundation's Soup Tank, which is a takeoff on Shark Tank, where we had our 4th event last week at USD, focusing on 9 superintendents making a 3-minute pitch. The business leaders, about 150, 170 of them out there. You would have known a lot of the crowd because that's the space you live in. But it's all focused on, as Classroom of the Future Foundation is about college and career. It's about careers. How do you get to a career, no matter what road you take on it? And we can talk about this offline at all. I want to give you a tour of the Linda Vista Innovation Center, where we are housed, Classroom of the Future Foundation. I've been honored to be involved with the group since it started in '97 and now on the leadership team. But maybe when we come back from break, we can talk a little bit about this on the education aspect of it, the absolute diversity of the careers that you do while you're in the military, and then when you transition out. When we return with Neil O'Connell, Executive Director of the Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, You get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We've been doing this now for 18 years with the nation's longest-running community podcast, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union for 60 years, just doing great things in the community, whether it's for food insecurity, whether it's literacy, whether it's art, or everything in between. We're now joined by my associate producer, Brandon Joe. He is a junior at UCSD. He's also a young entrepreneur, CEO of Treasure Hacks, and I love when he sits in and chats about some key issues. Brandon, we were talking about careers and so forth, and the connection between what goes on in Classroom of the Future, which is close to me, and of course what Neil does on this. Talk about the diversity of careers when you're in the military, and then when you transition out.
Well, the military provides a foundation for all servicemen and women and their occupational field training from initial induction, officer or enlisted, and then literally developing leadership skills and the discipline that it takes for you to be able to take and persevere, get on a career track, educational track, and you give yourself 4 years, 6 years, 8 years to the United States military. You come out of that a very, very well-rounded person that has the skills, the determination, the discipline. And on top of that, the friendships that you make while serving in the United States military, you're bonded as a brother or a sister in arms. And then post-military career, to the extent that you have that initial, that immediate contact there, and you're talking the same language. It takes a little adjustment when you become a CEO or a mid-level manager and so on and so forth. But in all respects, there's fantastic bridging capability for careers to be flourished and pursued after your service to in the United States military.
Yeah, without question. Brendan?
I'm just curious because I heard about this amazing experience in service. And
Yes.
of course, I want to get into what you do afterwards. But for you, what's something that stood out for you while you were in service that you remember that moment extremely clearly as the place where you're like, this is what it's really about?
Well, it took a few years to really get my hands around looking forward into the future. I came into the United States Marine Corps as a young man, pursuing more skills so that I could utilize those skills when I left the service. And I'd say probably about the 2-year mark, when you really are putting together a lot of leadership skills and learning how to adapt and work with people from all walks of life. The military is a fantastic experience when it comes to working together with one another. You have a common goal. You've got some very critical objectives that must be attained, and it takes a team. You're only as good as the people that you're with. Those men and women to your right and left, to your front and back, your team, under the proper leadership, can do great things. And I think that hit me right about the time I was a young NCO as a corporal in the Marine Corps, and I was immediately put into higher levels of leadership positions with more responsibility, not only for the skill set, but for the young men and women that were in your charge. And then you develop leadership at a very young age that sticks with you forever. And then as you progress up the ranks, you become you take on more responsibility, of course.
And it's just, so basically just a group of people driven by a single purpose, led together by different individuals, one being yourself. And that's just not something you can get anywhere else, where everyone is so perfectly aligned in this stream. That's just awesome.
Brandon, it could be you. You understand this. You've got a brilliant education track going right now. And if you think about it, Brandon, the hard work you've done, what better way to learn than to come together with 3 or 4 young people, considering my age here, very like-minded individuals, and work together with them. But you're influencing their track by the fact that you've dedicated yourself to your education. You know what you're talking about. So it takes that collective team to hit those objectives.
Thank you very much. First of all, I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
It's a pathway I've never considered, honestly. It's almost because I've been on an educational track for so long, it's hard to think about what it would be like outside of that sort of field at the moment.
And it's fun. There's a lot of fun.
Always a plus.
Yeah. So Neil, we got the education programs.
Yes.
And so how do people get a hold of you? So if we got some educators out there, you got some parents who kids are in school, whether it's K through 12, do they just contact the office?
We have our link up for direct contact to our program manager at education@soledadmemorial.org. Call our offices. The best way is through that email link, and we'll put this right in motion. We'll get the dialogue established, the conversations going, and host your youngsters at the memorial. Our real objective, though, is to get throughout the entire county. There's youngsters in schools that have yet to get to the memorial. Some haven't been to the beach.
Or the mountains.
Or the mountains, correct.
Right.
And we are really, really targeting those relationships with educators and the portions of the city that haven't had the opportunity to come out to the top of Mount Soledad.
Well, as Brandon and I have chatted about, and Brandon's been a co-host with me when did you start doing this stuff with me?
Joined in February.
Okay, February. It seems like it's 10 years. And in some ways it seems like 10 minutes. And
Half my age.
yeah,
So,
no, he's done a great job on it. But Brandon and I have talked about this, and there's nothing more important than bringing relevance to the classroom. We all know that. Yeah, that's nothing a new concept that people have been talking about. That's probably since they were walking upright. But what a great way of doing this. You bring that relevance. We know it may be one page in a history book that's dedicated to the Korean War or to World War II, or maybe 3 pages on that. Now you come in and you bring this whole thing to light on this. How important is that?
It's extremely important here. You cannot just ignore history when it comes to the service of our men and women of our wonderful country, going all the way back. And for those of us that are in this era today, service is the bedrock of grounding you in terms of, at least my view is that you will have an option to be a very successful person and make a contribution to your community. You could pursue a career in education. You could pursue a career in any of the tech fields, any of those domains, and professional services and the like. Medical, for instance. There are amazing stories of youngsters who joined the United States Army Air Force as medics or corpsmen, who went on to become doctors, who went on to save lives, who went on to become specialists, cardiovascular specialists, vascular specialists. There could go on and on.
Well, which is interesting. Again, we're chatting with Neil O'Connell. He's the executive director of Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial. Listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast on our 18th year. Brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. I'm joined by my associate producer, Brandon. Joe, what's interesting, and maybe we'll save this for another time, We used to do a military show with the San Diego Military Advisory Council, as you may remember. Started that in 2008 with Larry Blumberg, who you know well, Neil, first executive director of the SDMAC. But one of the people that used to come in was a guy named Tony Newfer. I'm not sure if you know Tony. He was a president of SDMAC. And one time he said, hey, when we do a session, can we do one on all of the things that were actually invented by the military? And it started in the military, and now it's out in the public. And most people don't realize, well, that started with the Army. The Marine Corps started that one, or this over here. And you know what I'm talking about. That'd be a great show, would it not?
I think that would be spectacular, especially this day and age with the just the ever-evolving technology that's out there. And, we're on the threshold of something very, very impactful when it comes to artificial intelligence and the like. And
I think it gets back to the thing we're talking about with careers. Members are so important to you, and getting membership is critical for your organization, among other things. Talk about that.
Well, we have 6 levels of membership, and I'm glad you brought this up too, Drew, is that beautiful memorial requires the resources to maintain it in its pristine condition, as we owe that to our veterans and their families. We owe that to the community. We do not ever want to see that memorial in any shape where it's not taken care of, it's not maintained. Membership is an essential resource for us. Obviously, private donations that keep us running and help us be able to continue to be relevant in the community, manage those programs that we just described. But membership can run from $50, which is about a cup of coffee,
right?
A day or so, all the way up to $2,500 for those things. And we would love to have a little more interest from the community in joining our ranks. The great thing about it is you are part of the community here within San Diego that supports the only memorial in the country like this. There is no other memorial that comes close to what we offer. And by that, I mean the view, the stories, the design, and the educational interaction with our docents.
Right, exactly. Shoot out that website one more time.
SoledadMemorial.org. And for members, it's membership at SoledadMemorial.org.
Right. I want to encourage everyone to take a look at the Veterans Day ceremony at the Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial. Pay attention, it's Saturday, November the 9th.
That's right.
Not on Monday the 11th, 11 to 12. They'll be focusing on honoring veterans of the Korean War. Neil, it's always a pleasure chatting with you. You always have some great content. When you come back on again, which will be sooner than later, maybe you can bring in a teacher that has benefited from either you folks going into the class or they're doing part of a tour. If a student's available to even come with that teacher, that's even better. And just talk about that educational component, maybe take a deeper dive. What do you think?
I think that's a fantastic idea. And the results we're receiving, the comments from our teachers and the administrators out of the classes that we've had up there are just absolutely very, very gratifying.
Well, we'll make that happen. Neil O'Connell, you're a treasure. You're a good friend of mine, and look forward to our next interview and wish you nothing but great success on the Veterans Day ceremony and everything moving forward. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Drew. We salute you. Thanks for taking care of our veterans.
Appreciate that. You're very, very kind. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things for more than 60 years. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.